Hello, welcome. I'm glad that you've joined me on today for this webinar. And I'm going to be talking about how to get jealousy out of your relationship for good. You didn't think that was possible, huh? You probably have seen some very bad examples of how people deal with jealousy. And usually it's not a very happy outcome. Because we are not trained. We come through elementary school, we come through high school, we come through college, we come through the college of life, and no one basically takes the time to teach us how to get jealousy out of our relationships and to keep it out. Sometimes we manage to do it, and you may have managed to do it if you have been a giver or a receiver of jealousy. You may have been able to do that. However, it may not have lasted. And it wasn't long before you were back in the situation. Well, I'm going to teach you today how you can get it out and get it out for good. This is my intention, and this is what we're going to do. My name is LZ Ware, and I am a life coach and a master neurolinguistic programming practitioner, and I'm also a teacher of neurolinguistic programming. And I'm very happy that you have joined me, and I look forward to our getting together often for various subjects, from my website to my courses. And we're going to go in further, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. I have something for you I think you'll be glad to receive. So thank you for joining me. Now, let me tell you a little story. Bob and Ellen, um, an average couple in their 30s, and um, love each other very much. They've been married for 10 years, and every now and then, as most couples do, they had a problem in trying to communicate with each other. Now, put a pin in that and let's move on with Bob and Ellen. It just so happened that out of their tough schedules, and it just got really tough for them, they decided, we're going to take off an evening and actually just enjoy one another's company and talk for a bit. We haven't been able to talk for a while, and we're going to enjoy our favorite dinner at our favorite restaurant. Sounds like a wonderful evening, doesn't it? With that significant other. Well, it happened that they dressed, they got ready to leave to go, and they headed toward the car. And when they reached the car, Ellen reached and opened the door and got in. And soon afterwards, Bob did the same thing. He opened the door and got in and cranked the car and was ready to drive off to that favorite spot. And it just so happened this was the spot that they met at 10 years ago. All right. And they enjoyed that so much. They returned ever so often. So they got to the restaurant. When they arrived, they opened the door, got out of the car, and went inside where they had reservations, and they were properly seated. When that happened, um, menus were brought to them, and they actually read through the menu, not looking for their favorite item. They were so intrigued by the items that were on the menu that they actually went into the menus trying to select something different. Ellen reached her menu over to Bob and said, "Here, choose something for me." Bob said, we don't do that anymore. You know what you want, go ahead and order. And he was jokingly serious about that. And so she did, and the waitress came and took the order, and the food came promptly. Thus far, was shaping up to be a wonderful evening. Uh, and so after dinner, they talked for a while about the events that were going on, the events that have been happening in their lives and their busy schedules, and how they needed to take time, more often, well, just the two of them, uh, and enjoy one another's company. Well, Ellen heard her name being called, and she looked around. She didn't see anyone. She continued in her conversation with her husband, Bob, and she heard her name again. And soon walked up this debonair gentleman who was sharply dressed, very handsome, and very kind in his voice and warm. And he walked up to Ellen and said, "Hello, hi, I haven't seen you in many years. How long has it been? 15 years?" And Ellen looked up and saw it was an old boyfriend. And she stood up and put her arms around him, and he put his arms around her, and they hugged. And Bob sat there trying to be composed, and he looked. Ellen sat down, and the gentleman and Ellen had a conversation. Uh, he sat next to Ellen. Bob could not participate really in the conversation because he didn't know the gentleman. He had not been around when they were um, seeing each other. All right, so the conversation ended and the gentleman left. Bob, now a little angry at the situation, stood up and said, "Let's go, Ellen." Ellen stood up and they went to the car. And Bob got in first. And then Ellen opened the door and she got in. And they went off home. Bob, obviously angry, did not approach Ellen about the situation the rest of the evening. And Ellen went on as if nothing had ever happened. Well, what do you think had happened in Bob's demeanor between then and now? What do you think had happened? Right, jealousy. Exactly. Did he have a reason to be jealous? Perhaps. Was he handling it very well? Probably not. You see, Bob and Ellen never had time to establish their relationship goals. And everyone, if you're in a significant relationship with someone, you should have relationship goals lined out. That's very important for you to do. This gives you what to expect in your relationship, okay, and how you're going to handle situations in your relationship. You know, jealousy comes quite often when we don't know how to handle and what to expect in given situations. Also, Bob was not a victim, but he was an aggressor in the fact that he no longer did things for Ellen that he did when they first met. Hmm. He didn't do it anymore. such as opening the car door for Ellen. He stopped doing that when initially she couldn't stop him from doing it. Hugging and telling her how much he appreciated her and how much he loved her and things of that sort. That activity just stopped. And then when her old boyfriend showed up, he showed her the kind of attention that Bob used to show her. Do you think Bob was cognizant of that fact? Do you think that he remembered that? Probably. Here is another man doing for his wife what he had been failing to do for so long. What's absent can bring about jealousy as well. Jealousy is not fun. It's not fun. And if you are the giver of jealousy, and if you, let me identify the giver and the receiver. The giver is the one who is jealous. The receiver is the one who is on the other end of the jealousy, who gets it. Okay. Now, sometimes both couples are receivers and givers, or both in the couple are receivers and givers. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's one-sided. Whatever the case is, jealousy is not fun. Let's look for a moment, if you will, at a couple of instances where jealousy really creates havoc. And I want you to understand what's going on, here. Now, getting jealousy out of your relationship involves some steps, and I'm going to go over that, and I'm going to give you a couple of techniques to help you get past this thing called jealousy. Now, look at the screen here. The couple on the left is obviously not communicating, and they have their backs turned to each other. Her hand is up to her head. Do you think she is the receiver or the giver? His arms are folded, and do you think he is the receiver or the giver? Well, does it really matter? The results are the same. Look at the couple on your right. And do you see there where the couple is communicating, but are they getting anywhere? They're talking to each other, but does that necessarily mean that they are indeed communicating? Well, probably not. It probably looks like there's an argument going on. And an argument does not dictate that anyone communicates. Okay, so this is very important for you to understand. Let's look at what some of the ravages of the lack of getting jealousy out of your relationship is. Sometimes within that discomfort, we find that you're hurting inside as a result. When you're really caring about another person and they have approached you with jealousy because you don't know how to handle it, and because they may have approached you in a very negative way, you're hurting inside. The mental pain is traumatic for you, whether you are the giver or the receiver. It's a hard thing to deal with. And then we find that there are other aspects of dealing with the jealousy. But how do we begin? How do we begin to deal with the jealousy aspect? Well, it's quite easy to start. The first thing you need to do is to learn how to approach the situation, to learn how to deal with approaching the situation. Now, you need to approach it a certain way, that is, with calm. You need to be calm about approaching it. This is very important because approaching it with calm, which is not easy to do if you don't know how to do it. And I'm going to teach you how to do that today, by the way, uh, without approaching it with calm. Um, then your efforts are probably going to be null and void, such as the couple we saw there on the right. They probably were null and void in their communication. It didn't come out very well, obviously. They're still arguing, okay, over the situation. Jealousy has been the a severe course of breakup within the relationship, okay? And so that's why you need to approach it with calm and express your intentions, okay? And let the other party know, listen, I'm not trying to hurt you. Um, and let them know if you're feeling insecure. And that's a very big reason that jealousy does occur many times, is that the party is feeling insecure. So when you approach the your significant other with a mind of being calm, when you approach the situation, it's okay to communicate the fact that, hey, this happened last night. This gentleman walked up who was an old boyfriend, and there was a deep embrace, and I felt out of place. I felt that you knew him better than you knew me, and we have been married for 10 years. And yes, I failed to do some things that I used to do, and I know you would appreciate having that back. And perhaps that's why I'm feeling a little insecure. Right now, I feel a little insecure. Okay? That's all right. At least you communicated that, and it wasn't used as a bat against you. Okay? And you didn't use it against yourself. You just communicated how you really felt. All right? So be honest in your approach. Now you have to decide if this is a relationship that you are really committed in. You have to decide that. If you are really committed to, think about that. Are you really committed to the relationship that you have now? If you are, it means that there are more things that you will endure and try to solve than there would if you were not committed. Okay? The care principle need to be there. You need to care for each other. Okay, now the things that I'm calling off here to help you get rid of jealousy for good and get it out of your relationship, uh, they are important for you uh, to do. The care principle is one that we tend to let slip by us, where the other does not feel that they are receiving the kind of care that they should receive. Okay. Now, what does that do with jealousy? Well, when you, for instance, if you're the jealous party, when you are, are aware that you have not been shown the level of care that perhaps you should, or that you have been showing, then you find yourself in a difficult position because she may or he may respond to that level of care from someone outside of your relationship, such as in Ellen's case. She responded to seeing this gentleman again and responded to the level of care that he gave her. What that evening, particularly, had Bob done to show the level of care beyond what she would do? That is, invite him to dinner, okay, which she has done on occasion. So the care principle for each other need to be there. So the commitment for each other is there. The care principle is there. Communication with each other. And perhaps if you don't do anything else, you communicate. That's primary. You cannot communicate except someone begins. Normally, behavior is not a good indicator that you are prepared to communicate. The best way to begin to communicate is by way of talking, not yelling, not fussing, but talking, because it's very easy for the giver of jealousy to try to talk through the situation and sound angry and sound upset and sound threatening. And under those circumstances, it's very easy for the receiver to feel threatened, level of fear, to feel anger as a response, a defense mechanism. So they begin to feel defensive. It's very easy. And if one party is feeling aggressive, the other party is feeling defensive, you will not be able to communicate. I'm here to tell you. You will not be able to do what you need to do in order to get your situation not under control, but to get that thing out. You don't need to control jealousy. You need to get it out. So commitment to each other, the core principle to each other, the care principle rather, to each other, and communication with each other are highly important. Now, when it comes to approaching each other, and I'm back there because I'm going to give you an exercise that's going to help you to relax. And perhaps both parties, before you deal with the subject of jealousy, need to learn how to do this. Okay, it's not available to everyone because everyone is not teaching it. I teach it to my clients, and I'd like for you to learn this as well. Okay, so this is a new behavior, something that you perhaps have not had, you desire to have, but you haven't had it. Something that you desire to do, but you haven't been able to do it. This process will not only help you with what you want to do in light of jealousy, it'll help you in any other situation when you find yourself stuck. So we're going to generate new behavior. And it's easier than you think it is, but I want you to respond to it by doing this exercise with me right now, doing it with me right now. And I want you to think of that stuck state. And obviously, if you're looking at this video right now or watching me live, then jealousy has had an impact in your life in some way. Okay. And perhaps you haven't dealt with it well. That's why it's still around. So let's go into this new behavior generator and see if we can change our state. Okay. Because jealousy is a stuck state. You're stuck. It's very difficult not to feel jealous once it rears its ugly head. Okay, so you're stuck. So what I want you to do is to sit yourself comfortably, be comfortable, make the adjustments that you need to make, be comfortable, loosen up, okay? Just loosen up. Get the kinks out of your neck and your fingers, your hands, loosen up. And I want you to put in your mind jealousy. Now remember, this can be anything else, all right, that you're stuck in, a stuck state, a stuck place. This could be anything else, all right? Now, after you're comfortable and you're settled down, go ahead and close your eyes and think about jealousy, all right? That's it, with your eyes closed. Now, don't think about the act of jealousy and how you're responding. I want you to think about being stuck in that state. This is not desirable. You want to get out of this state, okay, before you deal with this subject, all right? You want to get out of this state, being upset, being angry, before the subject of jealousy is done. Close your eyes. Think about this jealousy, the undesired state. All right? Get a good picture of it in your mind. What kinds of things now are happening? What environment are you in? Be like Bob did. Think about the last time jealousy affected your life. Okay? You're doing that now. Okay. So I want you to step outside of that. I want you to see yourself outside of that. Step outside of the picture and look at you and your significant other. Look at the subject of jealousy. Okay? So you're looking at it from outside and you see the whole picture of you and your significant other not enjoying the subject of jealousy. You are not happy because you're stuck. And this thing is dictating to you what your behavior is. You're stuck. But you're viewing it from outside. The whole picture, you see where you are. You see yourself, not from yourself, but from a distance. You see what's going on. You see your significant other if they're there. Now, what I want you to do is to, once you have that in mind, I want you to think about what you would like to have, how you would like to be at that point. What comes to mind? Do you want to be calm, collected, your thoughts collected? You want to be calm in the situation before you make an approach concerning what's bothering you? After all, you should be able to talk about what's bothering you. But many times we can't express that because of how we approach the situation. Okay? So now you have decided you want to be calm. You don't want to address it with anger. You don't want to address it with fear, insecurity. You don't want to address it with mental pain. You want to be calm. All right? Tell yourself, I want to be calm. Now I want you to step back into the picture. Step back in it, where you see now from a associated point of view. You're now associated with the picture. You're in it. You're seeing it from inside of yourself. All right? And you brought along this calmness of mind, this calmness of heart, and these intentions of approaching the situation calmly. How are you acting now? What are the words that you're choosing now in this new state, in this calm state? Now, if you don't feel the difference now, step out and see the whole picture. Pretend that you are in a theater and you see yourself and you see what I'm describing on the big screen and you're in the balcony. What do you see? And you're seeing it from a distance. This is called a dissociated point of reference. You are dissociated. I want you to gather the calm mindset. I want you to gather the kinds of words you would say. I want you to gather how you will approach the situation because it still needs to be approached. And once you do that, take a deep breath. Now, step back into the picture. Move from the balcony into the screen. That's it. And look around. You should begin to feel that the behavior that was associated with the jealousy is now dissipating, if not has dissipated. Now, this may not happen immediately, it may not happen right away, but with practice, it will continue to happen and you will make the behavior change. Okay, if you continue to do this right. Now, I want you to check around you. How does this new behavior affect your significant other? How does this new behavior affect you? How about the air of where you are, others around? How does this new behavior check in? Does it make sense? Is that a better you than what you were before and how you were going to address the situation? I believe it is. Now you can approach the situation of jealousy and you can explain how you feel and what your intentions are. I'm not trying to upset you. I'm trying to communicate with you. And then ask your significant other, how do you feel about what I just said? I'd like to know how you feel. And, you'll be surprised many times when you ask your significant other how they feel. Sometimes just to know that came from you in such a calm, serious manner shows the care principle. Sometimes it's automatically done because you simply asked, how do you feel? And then usually they will take the time. If you're in a caring relationship and they actually care, they'll take the time to reassure you you have nothing to worry about. I simply hugged Tom, whoever, because he hugged me. And it's been a long time since we've seen each other, but I married you for a reason. And they will come back around and you will begin to see jealousy creeping out the back door. And will that happen from one time of communicating? No. This is how you keep it out. Once jealousy exits the back door, you're now feeling secure. You're feeling happy. You're feeling like everything is okay, everything is fine. Your significant other has reassured you, or if it's been both of you, you have reassured each other. And in this air of the absence of insecurity, you may still have to revisit not the jealousy, but the caring principle, the care principle. That should always be in place. And try to increase upon the care principle. When you increase the care principle, that's where the magic happens. You can never care enough. Now, don't mix the care principle up with the problem of smothering the other person. Smothering the other person doesn't work. Okay? That's not the care principle. That's insecurity again. Okay, so learn to recognize what's going on with you. Use the new behavior generator that I just taught you. See yourself in the situation and pull back out of it. Become detached from it and see what's going on. Choose your new state. Choose. You can do that. We can choose how we react. You can choose this. Put it on like a jacket that's tailored for you. Step back in the situation and apply it. You'll find a difference. Hey, that was a simple exercise, right? Okay, so if you have any questions, more than likely, um, you may be watching through YouTube. That's fine. If you are, I'm unable to access the questions right now. However, I will be uh, looking at those. And if you will leave your email address, then I'll get that back with you. Okay. But there is a question here. I do have access uh, to Zoom. So if you're on Zoom, I can answer this question. Say, I think my boyfriend um, may be jealous of our relationship. They have dated about 7 months now. Um, However, she and I grew up together. We only hang out for a couple of hours, about once a month. So the text and or so and text back and forth a lot. I don't want to cause any problems for them, but I don't want to lose my best friend. Is there something I should do to make things better between all three of us? Well, first of all, you should recognize the fact that it's not all three of you. It is them. They more than likely took vows to be as one. It is them. And then there is you. You should not attempt to equate yourself on the same level in a relationship as the two who are together, because that's the way it is. And many times when a person enters into a relationship, their friends do change. Their friends do change, or the relationship is adjusted. Okay. And if you really respect that of the other person, respect their relationship, then that third person will accept whatever the new relationship is toward the friend. Okay. So if that's happening, then you need to reevaluate what your position is, uh, and to understand that this is not a three, this is a two and a one. And your relationship can remain intact, but you shouldn't put yourself in the position of equating where you are to where someone else is, okay, in their relationship. Get your own relationship, okay? And you'll find as well that things change. It's possible to remain friends throughout your life, but friends will not want their relationships threatened, and friends will not want others to threaten their relationship, because you can't offer everything that the friend needs in their lives. Okay, if you could, they'd never enter into a relationship with someone. All right, so they have needs. That needs to be respected. Okay, I hope that answers the question. And there's another question here. Why does it seem that jealousy keeps coming up? Usually that leads back to the insecurity. The insecurity has not been dealt with. It hasn't been handled. And so it will creep back up. It will cause jealousy to creep back up because it's still existing, which means if you have communicated with the other party and you continually feel insecure about it, it means your needs have not been met. Okay? Your needs haven't happened. Your needs have not been met. Whose responsibility is that? Both of you. Not yours, not your significant other, but both of you. It's your call as to how to address insecurity. But that's usually what it is when it keeps coming back. Okay? When we are secure, we're able to fight. Uh, I'm not going to say that jealousy will not attempt to come back, but you can keep it out. As I said, you can get rid of it. You can get it out of your relationship, and you can keep it out. Anytime it tries to get back in, check your level of insecurity. Okay? I have another question here. Is jealousy ever possibly related to selfishness? Absolutely. Insecurity in a relationship is a type of selfishness, and then there's selfishness by itself. If there's selfishness uh, involved, then that person has some other work that they need to do in order to begin to quell jealousy, get it to get themselves settled down and to get out um, of where they are, to understand that they are being selfish and not to be honest with themselves, okay? Because they'll know if you are the one who's being selfish and you just want to crowd the person, keep them with you all the time, um, and not give them room to breathe, then perhaps there's another issue that you should be seeking counseling about, or coaching, or to make changes that you want to make, okay, in your life. So if you're jealous, it is possibly related to selfishness. Self-examination can help reveal that, and then begin to see what you can do about it. If you can't do it, get help. Get help before it ruins your relationship. Okay, I have another question. My feeling is I'm the giver of jealousy, but I can't seem to get a handle on what I'm jealous of. These days, it feels like uh, everything. If possible, is it possible that I'm not in a relationship that is right for me? There's always a possibility that you're not in a relationship that is right for you. This is why I said that there need to be relationship goals. During that process, if you don't see eye to eye in the majority of things that would exist in your relationship, guess what? Perhaps you need to be letting that go. Perhaps you need to let that go, okay? And not try to barrel through anyway. Now, does that mean you have to be twins in how you think? No, not at all. Does that mean you have to um, think exactly the same way and believe exactly the same things and so forth and so on? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You can remain individuals, but can you come together in agreement about what happens in your relationship, how it happens? Can you put together a plan? Okay. And if you can't, that's a signal. That's why I believe everyone, when you're going into the relationship, and if you haven't and you're further down the road, then you need to stop and do that. Get a relationship plan going on. You'll find it as a resource to help you, not just through the good times. We're enjoying being in sync, but to help you through the times when you don't enjoy being in sync. Okay? So if you're jealous about everything, um, it could be an indicator that things are not right for you, or the relationship is not right for you. But it also can be the second thing, an indicator that something's wrong as far as you are concerned. As I said a moment ago, it can mostly be linked back to being insecure. Something has happened in your past life, or something did not happen that should have happened in your past days and former years, um, that didn't meet a need. And because of that, you are insecure. That's usually when you just pass through a situation and you're just gone. You're just gone. You don't think about it anymore until something like this and it rears its head up. Okay. So you need to do some work in that area, insecurity. And we have one more question, and it looks like this is going to be the last question I'll be able to do uh, during this because I have a special announcement I'd like to make. It says, my boyfriend is jealous of the time I spend with my mother. She needs help from time to time. And besides that, I like to spend time with her every week. I don't feel it's too much, just a couple of hours a week. What can I do to help him see that my time with my mother is not a threat? All right. Is he seeing it as a threat? Should be the question. You need to communicate with him. You need to communicate with him. And as I said earlier, you need to come back and communicate, check your level of commitment, get the care principle going, and then communicate and let him know how you're feeling. Let him know how you feel. Let him know that, I think you're feeling uncomfortable. It appears to me that you're uncomfortable with my visiting my mother. Okay, and spending time with my mother. This is very important to me. It's something that I really would like to do, but I don't want you to feel uncomfortable about my visits with my mother. I'd like to invite you to come and be a part of the visit with me. Uh, that would be a wonderful thing if you can see your way to have the time to come with me. I would sure like to have you there. You see, when you put it on that basis, you knock the ball back into their court as to have to do something about it. Okay? You rob them of the reason to be jealous. Is it jealousy? It may not be. Okay? May not be. Could be distrust. I don't know if you thought about that, but it could be that you're not, that they or he is not trusting the fact that uh, you're really going there. You're really spending time with your mother. He may not be trusting that. Very important. Okay. So trust is another factor. So if he does not feel that, um, not if he's not comfortable, you need to communicate that you're noticing that. That begins the care principle, that you care, okay, about how he's feeling. Now, you're going to need to do the work to not approach it in anger, to not approach it as if uh, you're being defensive to his attack or something like that. You need to approach it with calm. Remember, when you're dealing with any subject that hangs around something like this, calm is the best route to handle it. You need to be calm in your approach. Okay? Try to fight that off. Okay, that's all the time I have for questions right now. I want to go over something with you. I do have a course that is becoming available in the next 24 hours after this webinar, if you're watching it live. Um, I think that I've said some things that you can hook on to and get this thing not under control, get this thing out and keep it out for good. But this course will be available on my website, Edgeless Living Life Coach Systems. Again, that's Edgeless Living Life Coach Systems. That's at edgelessliving.net. Again, it's edgelessliving.net. And there, if you scroll down a little bit, when you get to the page, you'll find an area where you can sign up for the all access. That's right, I have a membership area, all access to all video courses. I just began this journey, and there will be two new courses minimally every month. Two new courses available. There are a couple up there now. This course will be added to it. This is not the course that I went through today, but the course is going to be available shortly after this webinar. The price for that, all access, where you pay one price per month, and it covers all of the videos, the courses that are there. All of them will be free, available to you. Okay? And that is $69.99 regularly. But if within the next 48 hours after the initial broadcast of this webinar, you purchase that, you'll get $20 off. And therefore, it'll be $49.99 for the duration of your membership. That's right, $49.99, all access to every course that will be coming on board and every course that is there now. What kinds of courses are they? They are courses that deal with personal change, okay? That is changing undesirable attributes, determining detrimental attitudes and unreasonable mindsets, personal items, personal things, characteristics that you want to change about yourself. Okay. I have courses up there that address that. I'll also have courses there dealing with life redirection. Maybe your life is not going in the direction that you want it to go in. You need to change. You need to switch tracks and head up another path. Okay? I can help you with that. These courses will be available on the all access area of my website. So go there. The way to get the $20 off is when you sign up, there's a coupon area there. Now, write this down, get something to write with. There's a coupon area there. And I want you to type in CO, that's Cat Oscar 141. Again, CO 141. Type that in the coupon area. Immediately, it will give you $20 off, and it will be $49.99 for you for the duration of your membership. Now, also remember that it's going back up after 48 hours, back up to $69.99. It's a good deal. Those videos are worth $124.99 to $470.99. Okay, I'm sorry, $497.99. That's the range that these courses fall in. There'll be none under $124.99. Okay, and they go up from there. Worth the value. Now, I should mention also, you can cancel at any time. Anytime you get ready, no fuss, no muss, you can cancel when you are ready. Get involved with that now. Okay? All right. Again, my name is Elsie, and thank you for joining me for this. Um, we say bye to Bob and Ellen, and I hope you've gotten some pointers now getting jealousy out of your relationship for good. Check out the course; it's much more in depth and several more techniques in dealing with some of the aspects of doing that. Okay, thank you. Take care. Visit me at edgelessliving.net. Bye bye.